What's up, friends and family of YouTube? It's Pastor Bob. What am I up to? Yeah, I'm up to it. This is what happens when I decide I want to build some speakers. Oh, God. What I did was I had a bunch of scrap wood laying around. You know, bits and pieces of this and that and whatever else. And I said, what the hell am I going to do with this? So I said, well, hell, I got so many speakers. Different speakers. I'm going to make myself some speakers. Now, audiophiles would probably, have a hemorrhoid over this, but, this is just how I do it. So I had some MDF and other wood and this and that, and I decided that I wanted to build some speakers. So that's what I'm doing. Now, if you're wondering what that purple stuff is on the side, that's soundproofing. And what that does is it helps to absorb any shake or any excess vibration, right? Because I don't want to get into the statistics of tuning speakers and all that crap. Look, I just know what works, right? That's it. I just know it works. So I figured I'd make some upper cabinets, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another one on the bottom. So there'll actually be 4. But it's going to be a step. It'll be a step down, so it'll be about, I don't know, probably another foot higher than what you're seeing right there. Why did I want to do it? Well, because I'm going to go ahead and make a big room upstairs, and I want to have a sound system for when Mary and I just want to have, movie night. We're going to get a big old TV, and when we have movie night, I want to have really good sound. Now, everybody knows that, I own speakers from just about every brand, from Infinity to Boston Acoustics, Cerwin-Vega, you name it. I don't know. I got Harman Kardon, and what else do I got? Klipsch, Infinity, you name it, man. Just like amplifiers, I got so many different amplifiers, from Pioneer to Carver to Marantz. I love Marantz. I'm like, I don't know, probably at least 25, probably 25 different amplifiers. I got all kinds of different stuff. And I got to thinking today, out of clear blue sky, I wasn't going to really show anybody these, but I got to thinking about something, guys. As I get older, I start to see less mom and pop shops selling stereo systems. I remember when I was a kid, you could go to Radio Shack, and there was technicians there and people there, right? They explained things to you. They taught you about, stereo systems and speakers, and how far apart to put things, and, what direction that, sound travels, and what's the difference between an 8 ohm, a 4 ohm, a 2 ohm speaker, or a 16 ohm speaker? What's the difference? Why does ohms matter? And man, it was just great. They'd have weekend little things where you'd stop by, you could get a prize, or competitions for building things. It was just fun. Everything from some speakers to entertainment center. You build an entertainment center, you put your TV on. God, it was just great. It was fun. I think music's kind of going the same way too. I seen that AI band. I said, what the hell? They got AI music out. I was like, man, I just don't get it. I think there's a point where you have to put the brakes on, right? And I do think some things are important. First off, I do think it's important that you have mom and pop shops, right? I do think it's important. I think it's important that you go and you learn about, different types of speakers and speaker cabinets. What works best for you? Because I'm going to tell you right now. I don't think personally. Now I have. Don't get me wrong. I got a set of $10,000 speakers, but I didn't pay that for them. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, where a person that I knew that had extra money, he didn't want them no more, and he was going to throw them out. And I was there, and I had been a friend of his, and he said, "Oh, you want them, Bob? Go ahead and take them." And I knew exactly. I said, "Man, them are expensive. I just don't want to deal with it. I'm buying a new system." And ended up spending $100,000 on a system. I got a $10,000 set of Infinity USA speakers. Hey, why not, right? Never look a gift horse in the mouth is what I say. But I've always been the type of person that I have different speakers that do different things for me, right? So I like a certain set of speakers for rock and roll. I got a certain set of speakers that I like for classical. Certain set of speakers for jazz. I'm just really picky that way, I guess, And not everybody's like me, and I get it. But I believe that I like to what's that? They say that diversify my portfolio. Like guitars. I like to have a lot of different type of guitars. Do I need them? No, absolutely not. Just like a set of speakers. But I built them, so there's something that goes into them, right? Now, do I have a lot of speakers? Absolutely. I have a lot of stuff, a lot of kit stuff. I deal with a lot of different types of people, and I've fixed people's speakers. I'll show you, and repaired speakers for them because nobody knows shit anymore because everybody's too busy, being lazy, I guess. But in this box, I got 2 boxes like this. I just couldn't find another box. And I got a couple more downstairs, right? I have different parts, like these. Want to see some nice crossovers? Here's a nice set of crossovers. Check this out. Look at them. Beautiful. Banging. Nice set of crossovers, right? Are they cheap? No, they're not cheap. But Parts Express has all kinds of stuff. I mean, I got a whole box of speakers and all kinds of stuff in there, right? Some people say, well, do you need all that? No, but you know what? It's kind of cool to have it, right? This is my world. Just like my shop is a mess again. You can ask people on my channel, they'll say, "Geez, Pastor Bob, you just cleaned that thing and it looks like dog shit." And I would say, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. It does. It's like crap. But, that's my world. And that's the way I like to live in it. My grandfather used to say a clean shop is either a guy who has more time to clean his shop than he does have business. Because any real business that's really ripping out stuff, generally they ain't got a clean shop because they're too tired at night. You might see little pathways of people brushing stuff up underneath, whatever, a saw or underneath the bench. So I'll get it later. I'll move it later, right? So that's just every place that I've ever been to, real place, making real stuff. Look, there's a little bit of clutter. So, but anyway, my video was, me building these set of speakers. So, I just thought that, I had some extra parts that I purchased, and I wanted to do something a little different. These came from a set of E310 Cerwin-Vegas, and I picked those up for 40 bucks. So they have a low-high impedance on both your mid-range and tweeter. So I wanted those because it does make a difference for the, different types of music or how I'm going to play my music. So I put those in there. And with a nice set of subwoofers, man, I got it going on. I got a set of 2 Infinity subs. I think they're either 8 or 10 inch that I'm going to put underneath these for our bedroom theater system. And then I have another set of speakers, clip speakers, that I'm going to use in the other corners. And then up in the corners at the ceiling height, I have infinity speakers that I'll be putting up there. I have 4 infinity speakers for around there. And so, I've already got it all figured out how I wanted it, but I wanted to build myself a nice set of speakers because I've done it for years, and I just had these scraps laying around, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Now, what does it cost me? Well, I don't know. Probably a couple $100 worth of stuff, probably. I mean, the stuff is scraps, except for the speakers and the crossover and stuff like that. But so I might have, maybe 250 bucks in parts. And I guarantee you, when I finish them, I'm gonna put them on maybe 3 different systems. It might be a few months down the road because I'll be pretty busy moving. Once my brother moves out, I'm going to be pretty busy making one huge room upstairs. So, but once I'm done and I have everything set up, I'm going to put it through probably 3 different styles of systems. Right? I'm going to do it through an A, an AB, and a Class D stereo system, and then maybe. 2 different styles of tube amps. So that way you guys can hear the difference in how my speakers sound. These speakers and the other speakers I'll be running with them. And that you can do it yourself. You know what I mean? Now look. A pretty how I want to say it. A pretty speaker doesn't make it sound any better, right? A pretty speaker does not make it sound any better. Remember that. So, I just wanted to say, don't worry about making them pretty. Make them sound good. And be proud that you built them. That's what's important. So, anyway, I didn't have much else to say. It's a Sunday, and I was just out here kicking it this afternoon, and figured I'd bring them out. Now, I've been working on these for a long time, believe it or not. I started building about 6 months ago, but like everything else in my life, I moved from one project to the next project to the next project to the next project. So, But I like them. They're going to be cool looking. Gonna be cool looking. Yeah, I gotta get some more dampening material for the bottom end. That's about it. Which I probably got enough stuff around here somewhere, to take care of that. All you're trying to do is keep your overtones from staying in there and rattling and making funny noises, right? I mean, you can have some people, they get into the really downright specifics of speakers and how speakers should sound. Look, make them so that they're rigid, right? If you build them out of MDF That's probably the most widely used material, right? And then use some soundproofing. Man, it doesn't matter what you throw in there, right? I say, anything that's electrical, put something around it so that you don't have a problem with anything crossing out, bleeding out, or whatever. Outside of that, don't matter what you stick in there. You know what I mean? It really don't matter. Old set of socks, rags, whatever, stuff it up in there. Anything to dampen that sound. And it'll give you a little more low end, especially on your bottom end, right? But, yeah, have fun. Enjoy life, right? You might see a couple such old speakers somewhere, right? Just as long as they work. If the cabinets look like crap, man, make yourself some new cabinets. Whatever. The problem with society today is if something breaks, instead of trying to fix it, they just throw it away. It's just like manufacturers today, right? You look at manufacturers today. What do you want to take, for instance? It could be Panasonic, it could be Sony, it could be Technics, whoever, right? Instead of sending it out for warranty, man, they'd rather just give you a new one if it's within the warranty period, rather than send it out to somebody and have it serviced and all that. It's cheaper for them because manufacturing in China is cheaper. But what happens if that system fails? Then what are you going to do? Well, then you're going to have to worry about dealing with your local schmokel, right? So if you got time, don't be afraid to test it out. Try it out. Don't worry about it whether they look great or not. Right? But there's certain things, might be able to show you on this one. Like, if you look down in there, I had just a bunch of little pieces cut out, leftovers from the side. I put them in there. Now, these are far from done, guys. I'll do the aesthetic stuff later on. But I got a nice big old opening for my woofer, right? Now, eventually, all there'll be is a down throw on the bottom because I'm going to step this up. But I'll have it so that when it throws it, it'll come right down. It'll just throw it right down. Like you would if you had a down throw sub. That's all. Something simple that I did years ago that works for me. But that'll all be filled up. It won't be open like that. And as you can see, I just used little pieces here and there and glued them and stapled them. It's not pretty. But I'm telling you, when I get done, you'll probably be impressed with how good they sound for the little bit of money that I have in them. And that's what's important. That you enjoy it, save some money, and put a little bit of pride in your work. That's all. I mean, think about it. They'll look good when it's done. Trust me. They will look good when they're done. Will they look like a set of $400,000 speakers? No. They're whipping them things out in China like, chiclets. But will it be as good as a $500 set of speakers? I would say yeah. Did I enjoy doing it? Sure. Do I know how it's built? Absolutely. See, there's certain things that I do that maybe other people don't do. It's like, you see that board back there? Oops, got some needles in here. You see that board back there? See how it separates itself? Yeah. There's a reason for that. Right? The less open area that you have between your woofer, your mid-range, and your tweeter, the less you have to deal with dampening, right? So what I'm doing is, instead of having one big open box that I have to dampen, right, I put this piece of wood in there, which gives me rigidity, and then all I have to do is fill this one section. Because the speakers are a lot smaller, they don't have as much throw, there won't be as much overtones, so it's much easier for me to fill the two spots, right? Or later on, if I want to, I can always cut a hole in the back here, and I have enough room that I could throw another speaker in the back. If I want to use them as a standalone without a subwoofer. So there's just different ways that I've learned that I like to do speakers over the years. No professional. I'm just a guy that likes to DIY stuff, right? Have a little fun. Who cares? That's it. If you go through life always worrying about what the other guy thinks of your stuff, look, I think helpful criticism to help you along the way, but somebody just to make fun of you and never done it themselves, yeah, that's horse shit. That's what my grandfather used to say. If you never dipped your toes in the water, then how the hell are you going to know how to swim, right? So, anyways, guys, just wanted to bring it to you. Hope you all enjoyed it. Nothing special. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. God bless. Pastor Bob. I'm out of here. See ya.